What I'm about to tell you in this video is something that I do not take very lightly at all. It may seem like something that other people have possibly told you, but I really do want you to take it very seriously, because this could be the difference between you having your dream life and you having a life that you never imagined having in the worst way possible. Come close when I tell you this. Please do not risk your future success in order to fit in. Fitting in is in our nature. So in regards to wanting to be like the people around you, when it comes to wanting to achieve similar things, when it comes to being on the same level, in the same mindset as other people, it comes very naturally. And in fact, a lot of us do it on a day-to-day basis without even realizing it. The issue with this is that your goals can be so much more than the people around you. And that doesn't mean that your goals are unrealistic. That doesn't mean that your goals are unobtainable, that they're impossible. That is not what that means. At the same time, though, people around you may make you feel like that's the case. They may make you feel like it's unreasonable, like it's unobtainable, like it's something that's impossible, that only the lucky ones get it. And thus, when it comes to you, you may feel like, okay, well, they're right. And it's not right. It really isn't. Just because their goals are not where yours are at, just because their goals may look very, very different than yours, may even look easier to achieve than yours, that does not mean that your goals cannot be accomplished. But this idea that's true, honestly, like, it can be told to you directly, with people straight up saying it, but then at the same time, it can happen indirectly. I know this is true for me because I was talking to one of my friends. This was back when I was still in high school, and I had set out this really important goal for me. And we were talking about our goals, and he was like, I told him what my goal was, and he was like, "Oh, that's not gonna happen." And I was taken aback. I was like, excuse me, what? He's like, "Yeah, that's not gonna happen. That only happens to lucky people. Good luck with that." And I was just like baffled at how blatantly people can actually just straight up tell you, like, yeah, you're not achieving that. And it's actually crazy how often that can happen. It can even happen in small, subtler ways where you go and you talk about your goal and someone kind of gives you like a side eye or like a look, and it's like, why are you looking at me like that? So when it comes to this, it can be very, very unconscious, but then at the same time, it can also happen even if you're not necessarily receiving pushback about your goals. I know there's that whole saying of like, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. And that is actually so true. I don't think it's true 100%, but I think that it is true at least like 90%. Because the reality of it is, if you feel like what you're doing is too much, is extra, is too outlandish because the people around you do not match what you're trying to accomplish, then you can end up pulling yourself down. This can happen in all sorts of ways. This can happen, one, in school. So if your friend group is constantly talking over the professor or your teacher and they're not paying attention, they're not really working to get their schoolwork done, they're not paying attention to really any of their grades, any of their percentages, they're not paying attention to really their educational future, they don't care. Well, then as for you, if that's something that you do care about, but you're constantly surrounded by that, it may make you feel like an outcast to not engage in that same behavior. I had this experience way back when I was in middle school. I was finally starting to take school seriously at this point. I was like, wait, I can get into honors? Say less. So I actually started to take school seriously. And so I started going to the library to get my schoolwork done. And it was actually very helpful for focusing, for getting stuff done. And so I brought my best friend at the time to go with me and do our schoolwork together. Well, while we're there, we go into this more of like a private room. It's not just like wide open. So it's really good if you have like videos that you need to play where you don't want it blaring and annoying everybody else. And so me and her are in there and I'm trying to study and she is just laughing, talking. She ain't even doing a single bit of work. And it was so distracting. And it was like, for me at that moment, I realized I was like, my friend does not take school seriously, you know? And for me now starting to take school seriously, now really starting to, up my grades and realizing this is something that I could do, it felt like there was pullback, like being with her while I'm trying to study was pulling me back. I didn't stop being friends with her, but I definitely didn't study with her again because it can make you feel like you need to fit in and be like, well, if they're not taking school seriously, then maybe I shouldn't be taking school seriously. This can even happen with financial goals as well. If your goal is to make X amount of money, is to achieve whatever it is that you want to achieve, if that's a business, if that's a degree, if that's a certain amount of money, if that's a certain, even things that aren't necessarily financial, then for you, if you're surrounded by people who do not have those same goals, they don't have those same interests, they don't have those same ambitions, they're not trying to make their life look like that, then it can feel safer to fit in. Sometimes it feels safer to be less wise, because if all your friends are immature and you're trying to mature, you want to get your life together, you want to get your act together, it can feel off. It can feel like you're too wise. And this is the craziest thing. When this does actually happen a lot, I've seen it, I've gone through it, I've talked to people about it, and that's when you start to change your life, people will mock you. Now, this doesn't always happen in the same way, which is why I kind of was like, mock, like, yes, it happens in different ways. Some people will like straight up outright do it, which I have personally experienced having that happen, sitting at lunch, and people just started to like crack jokes on me, and it wasn't in a funny way. Like, it was in a very, it was in a bad intent way, a way to embarrass me. And that didn't go very far. But they can also happen in other ways, where let's say that your friends are super immature, right? And then you're trying to work on being more wise, you're trying to work on getting your life together, getting your act together, and you start talking about all this hoopla to them. They're not hearing nothing but yapping, okay? They may hear you talk about this stuff and be like, what is this nerd talking about? Like, they may literally start saying stuff, start cracking jokes on you, start making comments towards you where you're like, what I'm saying is making sense, and you guys are making me sound dumb. Like, people literally make you sound dumb. And it's not coming from a place of understanding when that is happening. It's coming from a place of not understanding where you're going, not understanding what you're doing, not understanding the changes that you're making in yourself. So it can cause you to literally pull back and become the person who you weren't meant to be. And that's something where it's so scary because it's so slight. It's not necessarily something that can be measured. It's not something that can be tracked on a spreadsheet. It's not like that. It's something that happens over time. And that's what makes it so scary, is that you could be stuck in that place of denying yourself, not pushing yourself, not reaching your goals, not making it to the next level in your life because of the people who you're around and the fact that you're trying to specifically fit in with them. Because being an outcast doesn't feel good. Some people it does, okay? Not gonna exclude those people. But for at least me personally, being an outcast does not feel good. Standing out does not feel good. Like, no, it don't feel good at all. It does not feel good to feel like you're the only person who is trying to make a change. When I'm saying these things, I know that I am speaking to somebody, because it's not a lone wolf thing. Like, it's not something that only one person understands, only one person has experienced. Like, many people have experienced it, many people are going through it, and it may be in different sections of their lives. Somebody may be experiencing this when it comes to their household. Maybe they want to have their household become stronger. They want to build a solid, healthy relationship with their family. Some people may be finance, some people may be work, some people may be education, but people are going through it. So you're not alone if you're watching this right now. You're definitely not alone. This isn't just something that also cannot, be overcome. It definitely can. If you have any stories that you would like to share, any feelings, or if you just honestly just want to, barf out all your emotions, go ahead and do it in the comments below. I appreciate you watching this video. Thank you so much. And please feel encouraged. You got this. Okay? Listen here. You got this. And I'm telling you this as your new bestie, you will be fine. So stick around. Consider subscribing if this provided any helpful or anything encouraging towards you. Please consider sharing with a friend who may need to hear this. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.